Hi, I'm Kathy Carroll from Faux by Kathy and the Chicago Institute of Fine Finishes. And today I want to show you a very simple way to do glazing that will even allow you to be able to stop in the middle of a wall, go away, come back a week later if you want, pick up where you were, and continue to work the surface. Now what we're going to need to be able to do this is, first, Bella Fresco clear from Chicago Institute of Fine Finishes. We have you screwed.
3, 2.
Hi, I'm Kathy Carroll from the Chicago Institute of Fine Finishes and Faux by Kathy. And I'm going to teach you today a very simple, easy glazing technique that you would be able to do on any wall surface as long as it's well sealed with 100% acrylic paint. Now, when you do this particular finish, there's certain things that you're going to need. One is Bella Fresco clear. The other is a colorant, and the colorant that we're going to be using today is made by Blue Pearl, Terra Brown. You also will need a chip brush, some foam brushes, and a soft sponge, along with a plastic bag. All these tools used together are going to give you a beautiful finish that you will be able to stop in the middle of the wall if you want, go away for a week or two, and come back and be able to pick it right back up again. So it's a very simple, easy finish to do. You can purchase all these products at Faux by Kathy in our store. Now, one of the things I first want to teach you to do is how to prepare your sponge. When you purchase the sponge, they're usually about this size if you purchase them through our store. You want to get them damp, and then once you get them damp, you want to turn it over to its flat side. And once you've turned it over to its flat side, either using your fingers or a knife or a pair of scissors, you want to pull it open. And when you pull it open, you want to expose the belly of the sponge. So that's what we have here is the belly of the sponge, and we have the face of the sponge. And we're going to use this to be able to manipulate Bella Fresco on the walls. I've already mixed some Bella Fresco clear with the Terra Brown, and I have the formula for you, which is 1 cup of Bella Fresco to 2 tablespoons of Terra Brown. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chip brush and I'm going to load it with the Bella Fresco. I'm going to apply it to the surface, which is 100% acrylic paint. Make sure you have 100% acrylic paint. You want your surface to be very well sealed. I'm going to apply it to the surface, not in a straight line pattern. As you can see, I've made kind of an oblong pattern here. I'm going to take a plastic bag. This is just trash bags that I buy like at Walmart. They're a nice light plastic. They're not a heavy plastic. I'm going to take the plastic bag, and with the plastic bag, I'm going to come in here and remove the brush marks that I made with the chip brush. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to pull this out a little bit here, a little bit there. Again, not wanting to stop in a straight line. I want to make sure that my pattern is going in and out and in and out. Once I've placed my bag into it, the next thing I want to do is take my damp sponge, and I'm going to use the belly of the sponge. And you see, I'm pulling it back so that you can see it, and you can just see the belly of the sponge being used. Now with the belly of the sponge, the first thing I want to do is come along on the edges and kind of just come in here and pull a little of this up into it, and again, still making kind of an organic pattern. And then I want to take it and just blot in the center, like so. And I don't have, if you're scared of how you're going to make a pattern, what you can do is you can just take the sponge and roll it like this through it, and that also will give you some highs and lows, because what we're looking for here is a lot of material in some places and a little bit of material in some places. Now the next thing you want to do is use your foam brush. Now your foam brush is going to give you the signal that it's right when it's time to start to really pull it. And what you're gonna be listening for is a squeak. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna start on the edges, and we're gonna brush in the Bella Fresco into the edge. You hear that squeak? That squeak tells us that it's drying at the proper rate for us to be able to get the look that we're looking for. Now we're gonna come along and we're gonna easily brush into this. This is still a little too wet right now. So we're just gonna still take the edges, maybe work the edges a little bit more, and kind of wait for a minute, just for this to dry down a little bit. And what you can do is you can look to the side and you can start to see the level of shine disappear. When the level of shine starts to disappear, you know that it's time. Hear the squeak? We can go in here, start to pull this. It's an easy touch. It's like a butterfly touch, just a little touch. Pull it. We're going to push it up. Pull it to the side. This is a little damp up in that corner yet. But where it squeaks, we know that it's exactly right for us to get started. Now we can let this dry completely, or we can continue to work. So we're going to set in our next piece that you can see how you're going to work this puzzle as you're working down the wall. So we're going to take a little bit more of the Bella Fresco onto the chip brush, and we're not going to set in where we already have some. We're going to come just close to it. Put a little bit in, right in here. We'll do this little tiny section. We'll put a little bit in right in there. We're not going to touch where the Bella Fresco already is. Even though that's light there, we're not going to touch it. We're just going to get close to it. Again, we're going to take our plastic bag and we're going to pat out our brush strokes. And when we pat out our brush strokes, what we're going to do is come very close and maybe even touch where the Bella Fresco has been before. And we're just going to pat out our brush strokes, make sure we leave an organic type of pattern, in and out, nothing straight. And then we're going to come back again with the belly of our sponge, and we're going to touch in with the belly of our sponge, just to kind of give us the highs and the lows. And then we're going to take our foam brush and we're going to work the edges first. Because the reason why we work the edges first is because the edges always dry quicker, because that's where you have less material. Hear the squeak? So we know that we're right on time. And we're going to start to work these edges, and we can pull it this way, that way, whichever way that we want the pattern to flow. We're going to come over here and work this edge. And then we're going to come into the middle now. Out, there's the squeak. We're going to pull this exactly the way we want it to look. Okay, now we're going to start another section. And this section right here, for me, is a little too light. But I'm not going to touch that yet. I'm going to show you how to fix that. Right now, we're going to let this set down and dry, and we're going to come up here and we're going to start another section up here to put some more pieces of our puzzle together. So again, we're going to take the Bella Fresco, tinted with the Terra Brown. We're not going to touch where the Bella Fresco is. We're going to come out and just barely come into the area. Not touch it, just kind of work close to it. We're going to take our plastic bag. We're going to pounce into our plastic bag, make our pattern a little bit more uneven. Maybe get a little clean spot here so that we come in here now and we're going to touch right in to where the Bella Fresco has previously been placed. Make that a light little touch. Bring this out. touch right in here. See how that forms like a little snake area right there? We might want to pick up some of the Bella Fresco and just tap it in there so we don't have a light area. But we didn't place it in with the chip brush because that would have been too much. We're going to take the belly of our sponge, we're going to come along, and we're going to tap this with the belly of our sponge, and we are going to create highs and lows. Now my sponge happens to be leaving a little bit of itself behind when I'm doing this. And the reason why it's doing that is because I had just opened it up to show you how to open it up and get to the belly. So some of the little pieces of sponge is being left behind. I am not concerned about those. They've been left behind here and down here when I put this section in. They'll come right out when I dry brush it. But I have an area here that I don't particularly care for that's sitting here. So I'm going to use the face of the sponge that has no Bella Fresco on it, and I'm going to erase it. So I don't have to worry about that when I go to set in my next piece. Just going to kind of just erase that right out, because that would have shown when I set in my next piece. Now I'm going to take my foam brush again. I'm going to take the edges, and again you can hear the squeak, and I'm going to pull the edges in. It is very important when you're working with the Bella Fresco that your foam brush stays clean. So you will want to have several of them as you're working your surface, because you don't want to clean this, get it wet and then use it. They need to be dry. So make sure you have several stacked up, ready to use as it becomes appropriate to use them. And you'll begin to feel it get really crusty on the edges when it's time. So now I'm going to come right into this center, the biggest piece that we've set in so far. And I'm going to do a very light butterfly kiss. Just kind of touch it. See how it is? And I hear the squeak, so I know I can come stronger. I can get it in here, and I can start to pull this and push this any which way I want to work it. And as what I'm doing with the foam brush is I'm creating these drifts. That's what's happening with the Bella Fresco. It's creating these drifts. So now I want to correct this area before I move over here to finish. I still see a little bit of my sponge up here. Let me get it out. Okay. So now I'm going to correct this area. And I'm going to show you, you've got two different ways. I want to correct this area, and I'm going to correct this area, and I'm going to do them both in different ways. This area right here that I'm going to correct, I'm going to use my plastic bag. What I'm going to do is just take a little bit of the Bella Fresco and put it on the plastic bag, kind of blend it so I don't have too much, and I'm just going to come in here and touch a little bit. Like so. And then I'm just going to come with the foam brush and brush it. See how I darkened it up? It's very easy to darken it up. This area right here, I have some of the background color showing, and then I have some of where the Bella Fresco has been laid over it. So what this area, I'm going to use the belly of my sponge. So I'm going to get a little area here, and I'm going to take some Bella Fresco and put it right on the belly of the sponge. Kind of rub it in again so I don't have too much, where I'm in complete control. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to touch in this area right here. And then I'm going to take the face and I'm going to touch in this area right in here, just kind of touch it off a little bit. And then I'm going to come with my foam brush and I'm going to brush it. I'm going to push the pattern. See what I just created there? Made that area be exactly what I wanted it to be, which is now an area of interest. So now I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to do this last section here. But what I really could do if I wanted to, I could leave, I could go away, I could come back a week from now, and I could still set in working in the same way that I have been working to complete this area. One of the biggest tips, there's 3 tips that you need to know with working with Bella Fresco. The first one is you need to be working over 100% acrylic paint, so it needs to be a very well sealed surface. The second is that you need to not overcolor the Bella Fresco. Understand that the color that you see that it's mixed into is not the color it's going to dry to. So what happens with some people is they put too much colorant in here. And then when they put too much colorant and they start to form these drifts, the drifts are too dark. So you want to just use a little bit of colorant because you can always add more. It's like adding salt to your food. You put too much in it, you have a problem. You can't take it out. So you just want to add just a little bit and then increase it over time if that's what you want to do. And then the third and the most important step of all is you do not want to work big. This Bella Fresco is intended for you to work in a very small area at a time. So what I like to say is don't work any wider than your shoulders. Just work the width of your shoulders. Always make sure that you lay it down in an irregular pattern, no straight lines, and you'll always have a successful job. So now I'm going to start over here to fill in this last area. So I'm going to take and just put a little bit of Bella Fresco on my brush. And I'm going to set some up here. Get rid of that little piece of trash. Again, I'm not touching where the Bella Fresco has been. I'm just getting close. Again, I'm going to take my plastic bag. I'm looking for a clean spot. I'm going to take my plastic bag. And I'm going to bag out my brush strokes and bring it right onto where the other Bella Fresco has been. And then I'm going to take the belly of my sponge and I'm going to make myself highs and lows and perfect this to be exactly the way I want it to be, where I'm overlapping into the other area. But know that if you don't get it exactly right the first time, you can always go back in and touch more. Again, I'm going to work the edges first because that's where there's the least amount of material, is the edges. And I'm going to wait for my squeak. While we're waiting for this area to dry to get our squeak, I just want to show you over here is completely dry. So we can do anything we want over here. We're not going to be able to move it at all. And this area should be ready for our squeak now. Almost. It's just about there. There we go. You see how it starts to drift, and there's the squeak. And we're just going to fine tune it a little bit. Some of the action I like to do sometimes is to take my foam brush and do this. And that kind of gives you a really nice pattern. And we have a completed surface that you can do at your pace when you want to do it. Thank you very much. And again, if you want to purchase these products, you can purchase them through Faux by Kathy.